Hey YouTube. So I wanted to make this video while the beta was still up, but unfortunately the beta is down now because CN beta has moved into CN Live. Thelema is live, version 7.4 is live on CN servers, but I did get a chance to actually play the CN beta thanks to Hoyoverse. I appreciate you letting me in the CN beta. Hopefully we'll be able to cover some more CN content in the future as well in terms of the betas, see a little bit of characters a little bit further ahead, just like how some of the other CCs do for like Star Rail and Genshin as well as what I do for Honkai Pack for at least the live for the global servers. But I did want to make this video, but unfortunately I didn't get around to it in time just because of everything. But I did get to test Thelema and actually play Thelema, as you can see here in the gameplay on screen. You know, she was actually a really fun character, but I've been getting quite a few comments and questions asking about Thelema, and I haven't really had much chance to talk about her due to, you know, catching up on Honkai Impact Part 2 and also Penacony and Star Rail. But I did want to take this opportunity to at least talk about her because she is a very interesting character. She is a DPS. She is the newest Ice DPS to the game, and I'll be talking more about it when you know, she actually comes to global server and we actually go ahead and explore her fully in depth. But she is a very strong Ice DPS, being introduced with Part 2. She's the second Ice DPS. She's the second DPS that we've actually gotten in the game for Part 2, first being Senadina, of course. Unfortunately, though, she isn't farmable, which is crazy because now this makes us getting 3 Gacha S ranks in a row. But she is very strong, and a lot of people know she's strong, and a lot of people are really interested in her, not just because she's very strong, but she has a very desirable aesthetic as well. You know, I fully agree with that. She does look very good in multiple ways. Her gameplay looks absolutely insane. But I did want to take a chance to talk about her because she is very strong. She's primarily an on-field DPS. And she kind of shifts the way that we thought about how Part 2 was going to change with the Astral Ring mechanics. She does take full advantage of the Astral Ring mechanics, which is actually very cool. Now, I didn't really understand this going through the beta initially because I can't read Chinese, so I was kind of at the mercy of what I was just playtesting, you know, just testing and figuring out on my own. So what you guys are seeing here on screen isn't necessarily going to be fully optimal per se, just because I didn't have the opportunity to actually read what was going on. But the controversy in regards to Thelema, and there exists some controversy in regards to Thelema and how she functions, you know. She changes how we thought about the Astral Ring was gonna change up the game as a whole. And the fact that we thought we were going with similar APHO2 style of gameplay, where you would have you know, everybody would be a DPS essentially, and you just smoothly rotate through this. But Thelema is the first Valkyrie we've seen in the game in a long time that is an extremely selfish DPS. She takes up a large priority of screen time, of on-field time. And that's just due to the nature of how her kit works. She takes large advantage of the Astral Ring and being able to enhance her damage while the Astral Ring is active by summoning shadows, summoning clones essentially, to allow her to gain her meter faster, to use those charge attacks more often, which will further enhance her damage even more. And she can dish out that damage way faster than some of the other meta Valkyries we've seen. But a lot of people have actually been asking about her and if she's worth the pull, who to run with her, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but what I've told a lot of people is I don't think she's worth the pull, in all honesty, if for a couple of reasons, and they tie together. The first is obvious for any DPS Valkyrie. It's like, if you're not pushing Red Lotus, Nirvana, if you're not pushing endgame, you know, you don't want to try out necessarily new strats or anything like that. You just want to be able to clear content comfortably and pull for skins, or maybe pull for whatever waifu, whatever character you like. You know, I don't think she's necessarily worth the pull in that regard, unless, you know, she's a character that you're very highly interested in. But another regard is the fact that as far as her teammates go, yes, you can run, just like Senadina, you can run her with Part 1 Valkyries. It's not as good per se. You know, she's the only second release of characters that we've gotten for Part 2 Valkyries, and I'm sure it'll probably change in the future as we get more Valkyries. But for all intents and purposes, among the now 4 Valkyries that we have in the game that are Part 2 Valkyries, it's a bit of a toss-up for what you're gonna do, right? Helia was primarily aimed at supporting Senadina and supporting the sort of playstyle that the Senadina team brought to the game, right? Coralie is a sort of jack of all trades in her Astral Ring skill. I think it's like Rite of Passage or something like that it's called in the global server on EN. Not exactly too sure. I don't have the best memory in that regards. But she's a sort of shoo-in just because her Astral Ring can adapt to whatever attribute Astral Ring is present for the team, which is very, very nice, right? But as far as the question of maybe running Helia with her, I don't think so. Now, are you going to run a mixed composition? You can, and just replace that third slot with a Part 1 Valkyrie like Sushang or Kira, more likely Kira if anybody. But I don't think it's as worth it. And the reason why is because Senadina. This is the big caveat. Senadina, as you guys probably know if you've dug a little bit further, and I didn't mention in my Senadina guide, but I did post in the comments of that guide. Go watch if you guys are interested. I'd appreciate it a lot. Drop a like and sub on the video as well. It would mean a lot to me. But she has a node on her Astral Ring that is currently locked in the live server of the game, in the global server. And that Astral Ring node is aimed towards Thelema. Thelema allows it to be unlocked and brought to its fullest potential. And it also enables part of her Stigmata set that also does not get really used at all, except for this sort of scenario where Senadina consumes 30 or more SP while off field and gains all those effects that you can gain from the Stigmata set. Now, the reason why this is so important is because with Senadina slotted into this team, Senadina is not going to really see field time at all. It's because Thelema is such a selfish DPS. But what this Astral Ring node allows to happen is it allows Senadina to actually be slotted, or to actually become one of the shadows or clones that Thelema can actually bring on field while Astral Ring is active for that Thelema activated specifically. And when you use that Senadina clone, what it actually does is it triggers that passive. It triggers the Stigmata set. Excuse this poor gameplay. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just testing things out. Of course, as I already said, I can't read Chinese, so I didn't really know what was fully going on, and so I had no idea like exactly what I was doing per se. But when Thelema activates her Astral Ring, as you guys can see, you have two different nodes, two different clones. Without Senadina in the team, they're both going to be Thelema clones, but one of them with Senadina in the team actually becomes a clone as well. And when you activate the Thelema or the Senadina clone, it actually allows her to consume 30 SP while off field and activate all those effects from her Stigmata set and from her own kit as well. And it greatly enhances her damage as well. And that's part of the reason why, you know, you're not really gonna... I don't think it's a good idea to pull Thelema if you aren't gonna get Senadina, because of what Senadina herself brings to the table. And I believe from what I've heard as well, Thelema can also support Senadina. It's like a catch-22 situation where they support each other. I'm not exactly sure how Thelema even supports Senadina. I didn't really have much time to do that, but they can support each other based off of who activates the Astral Ring, which is pretty interesting it's a pretty interesting mechanic to bring into the game. I'm actually really curious about it, and I want to test it more, but I don't have a CN account. I was just luckily granted access to the CN beta. But when we actually get the beta coming to live servers, I'll be sure to test all that out. All that stuff will be in the guide as well for Thelema when she comes out. But just some pre-thoughts is that, you know, if you really want to pull Thelema, you know, best of luck to you. You can save all you want for her. I wish you the best of luck. But personally, I just don't think Thelema is a good pull if you don't have Senadina. Senadina remains sort of the backbone of what we've seen for part 2, where within her own team for 7.3, we see, you know, she lays down the anchor, and then it's all revolving around resonance attacks for triggering massive damage throughout the entire team and allowing Senadina to just exponentially increase the amount of damage that she allows the team to do. But now we see the same thing for the Thelema team, where Senadina sort of acts as a huge support for Thelema herself. Now you're going to be bringing Coralie onto the field though, just to proc some of those debuffs and some of those effects that Coralie can bring to the table for Thelema. But for the most part, in a Thelema team, Thelema herself is going to be mostly on the field like 99% of the time. She's a very selfish DPS, so in that regards, because of like, she'll be fun to use. But if you don't have Senadina, I don't think she'll be as good per se. You could still run her, but I just don't think she'll bring a lot to the table. I hate to be the sort of bearer of bad news, but that's just kind of what I've noticed, what I've heard people talking about, and from what I've seen myself, what I've tested myself from the little bit of time that I actually had to test. I wish we had a little bit more, but there was some complications. Anyways, all that sort of stuff was going to be coming up into the... all that stuff is going to be coming up in the Thelema guide when that comes out, when 7.4 launches. But we do have like 4 weeks, an entire month until 7.4 launches, from my understanding. We have a long time. I mean, CN beta just ended and 7.4 launched on CN. So, wait, are we catching up to CN? Are we eventually going to be catching up to CN? There's no way. I mean, it's an 8-week patch and we're already 4 weeks in. Never thought about that. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this and you want to see more sort of review content from this sort of stuff, if you want to see all the guide content as well coming up, if you guys enjoyed some of the reaction content I put out with Acheron, and you guys want to see some more of that stuff, let me know down in the comments below. Drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more amazing things in the future. It's completely free and it's the easiest way to show me support. Anyways, love you guys, and I'll see you next time. All right, Jenny.